Hello, this is Ms. Shay from the Hope Program, and I hope that all is well with you. So, our topic today that we're going to look at, and we're really going to work it out, okay? So I need for you to hang out with me. I am going to suggest that maybe you put it on pause periodically and think about what it is I'm talking about. Maybe take a break, maybe write down some information because I am doing this as if I am teaching you. And so I'm going to be giving you a lot of information. A lot of this I will not be covering in our live sessions. So I want to get this to you, and I want to give it to you in a package where it will be useful for you. Okay? So, why do employers ask tough questions? Well, they want to make sure that you are the person that they are looking for, that you are the right person, that you are the best person. And the only way to find that out is to have a conversation. They also want to know, are you a fit to their organization? Do you match it? Do you mirror it? They need to visualizing seeing you there. And the only way to do that is through talking and through expressing what it is that you know and how you know it. So in this video, students, we will look at some tough interview questions, and I'm also going to provide you with some answers, okay? Like real answers, not make-believe. We will consider some categories that employers use as fact finders. Please understand that I cannot cover every question, but I will cover some questions that I believe that are important and you need to know. So what are fact finders? Fact finders are tools that employers use to find out as much about you as they possibly can. So they use things like Facebook, other social media, including Twitter. So anything that you are attached to that is considered social media, they have access to. So any postings, any friends postings, any pictures, anything that is on your Facebook page, even though you believe that it is private and you have private settings, there's still some information that is public. Even if the only information that is public is that first screen that is associated with your with your page. Okay, so make sure that there is nothing that is on there that can be held against you, because employers look at your Facebook page. So your resume is a fact finding. It is a document that you have created, and you're showing it at least 10 years of your work experience, what you know, tools, education, different trainings, maybe different languages that you can speak, certifications, degrees. Okay, your cover letter usually accompanies the resume, not always, but it usually does. And a cover letter is your introduction to the company, and it highlights also what is on your resume. And then you can also bring in other information that may not be on there that you believe is important and maybe conducive to convincing them that you are the right person for the job. So the cover letter can be used several different ways. And it also is your official request for you to get an interview with the company. So I suggest that you Google your name. They are going to do it. You need to do it so that you can see what it is that they are looking at and what they have access to. Okay. Credit reports are looked at. What is your credit? What is your payment history? What is your delinquent history? Some companies do look at that to see how you handle your finances and your reputation, your credit. So it happens. Background is about any introduction that you may have had with the criminal justice system. They can look that up. If there's been any civil lawsuits, they can find that as well, okay? And of course, the fact-finding tool that is really widely used is the interviewing process. So tough questions won't be tough if you prepare. And I cannot say that to you enough. And I cannot tell you that I mean that enough. Practice questions. Look questions up online. use people and say, hey, would you mind practicing with me? I'm going to tell you an interview question, and then I want to give you the answer and let me know how I look and how I sound. Do I sound smart? Does it sound like that I know what I'm talking about? Am I giving you enough information? You definitely have me, your instructor. All you have to do is just come into my office, make an appointment with me. I'm available to you on a one-on-one. We can do that as well. I'm very happy to do that. Interviewing is definitely my gift and my skill. So get with me. And then also your employment specialist. So get to know who your employment specialist is, become friendly with them, okay, because they can help you do this as well. So you have two people that I've just named, your lead instructor and your employment specialist that can help you with answering interview questions. So why are you asked tough questions? Well, tough questions test your ability to be able to operate under pressure. Under pressure is being able to answer questions, articulate it, break it down, give examples, explain yourself, tell your story that it is understood. You're in a tough situation anyway, because here you are interviewing with this person and you really want the job, right? And then you don't know this person and you're trying to say the right things. You're trying to tell them what you believe that they want to know, and you want to be your best self. And all of that is pressure. You have to remember some of the things that you used to do on your job, your skills, your knowledge, your different situations, different employees. It's a lot. It's a lot. And so an interview is also time restricted as well. So that means that you have to answer questions. You can't take all day. And that means you got to be really clean and concise in your answers. So that is a lot of pressure. And there are some people who are not good at it. But I'm going to tell you right now, you can be good at it if you practice, and practice out loud. Please don't just practice in your head, because your head will lie to you and tell you you're doing a good job. Talk out loud. Listen to yourself. Listen to your words. Say these words. Okay? That's how you practice. Know your stuff. Know about the company that you're going to be interviewing with. Look them up. Research them. Be ahead of everybody else. Be ahead of the game. Okay? Know the industry. Know the job inside out. You're telling somebody that you want to do this job, then you need to know what that job is, and to be able to explain and give them examples in detail that you know what you're talking about. Okay? Be prepared to tell your story, so they can get to know you, and you know what you know. You know what you know. It's just about talking about it and it making sense. That's it. So you are to answer questions with logic, no emotion, okay? But with logic, provide supportive information and explanation, and of course, details. So employers want to know if you can think on your feet. And that's one of the reasons why they ask for an interview. So whether that interview is in person or whether it is done remotely, they're going to be asking you a series of questions. They're going to be looking at how you're controlling your space, how you're controlling the interview, how you're controlling the information and releasing the information that you're giving out. So if you don't know what the question is going to be that they're going to be fielding to you, okay, that is done on purpose, okay? So, do you understand the details of the job? Okay, so I've already talked about that. Know it inside out. When you are on your interview, you should have even a copy of that job posting with you, so that you can reflect upon it and that you can mention some of the bullet points about what it says that they are looking for, and then looking at your resume as well that you can have there, and then you can point and then you can direct them to it where it matches up to that job posting, right? Know the details. Guys, are going to be scholars. So now we're getting ready to get into this, and we're going to take care of some business. We're getting ready to work now, okay? So Personality questions. Personality questions are questions when they're trying to figure out who you are. And the only way we can do that is to ask you questions. And remember, these are fact-finding questions. Who you are, how are you the way that you are, how did you learn the things that you have learned, what kind of learner are you? They're looking into you. So here is a personality question. When was the last time you told a lie? Well, I'll tell you this. I will never ever say that I don't lie. Even if I never lied, people are not going to believe that anyway. Okay. So I go ahead and I tell them the truth. I'll tell them, well, I can't remember my lies. So I normally tell the truth. I have a very short memory span. And so if you want to know if I'm telling you the truth, come back to me an hour or two, ask me the same question to see if I give you the same information. If I don't give you the same information, that's how you know that there's a lie. So that is why I'll just go ahead and I'll tell you the truth, and I will accept whatever consequences that will come with that. And that's my answer, okay? You'll let me know what your answer is. Another personality question. How would others describe you? Well, others would describe me, they would probably tell you that I operate with integrity, that I will do the right thing because it is right, that I have an opinion that I am able to express, but even in that, I am accepting of other people's information as well. And I take that in and I consider that. I'm definitely kind-hearted towards people because I love people and I make time for people. They will also tell you that I'm trustworthy. They will tell you that I'm dependable and that I'm friendly and I'm likable. And when you hire me, you're going to see all of these things are true, because if you were to ask 20 people that know me, 20 people will probably tell you the exact same thing. So that's how I answer the question. How are you going to answer the question? Know what your personality is. You should have maybe 3 or 4 personality traits that you'd want to share. I'm dependable, I'm reliable, I'm punctual, I believe that I'm smart in this area, I'm easy to get along with, I'm hardworking, I'm detail oriented, I love accomplishing goals, I love working with my hands. Get the picture? So, behavioral questions. Well, they want to know how would you behave in a given situation. So they will ask you a behavioral question. So, but I just want to give you like a little technique as to how you can go about to answer the question. So when the question is posed to you, right? Listen to the question, think about it for 5 seconds, and then try to come up with an event in your head that will help you to explain your answer. So, situation. So S is situation. Describe what the event is that you were in. And what was the task? Explain the task that you had to complete. And then A is action. Describe the specific action that you took to complete the task or to solve the problem. Okay. And what was the end result of that situation? And so I'm going to give you an example. So here is the example that I'm going to talk about, because this is a question and I'm going to follow the star. Okay, now I may not follow the star STAR in order, or I may, okay, but I am definitely going to cover all of the aspects of the star. And so, of course, you have the power and ability to pause and to go back to see what that was so that you can learn that. That's the wonderful thing about videos, right? Okay, so behavioral question. Have you handled a difficult situation with a coworker, and how? So here is my answer. as an example? Well, when I started working on my last job, my responsibility was teaching students who were adults 18 and up, and I taught them a work readiness curriculum. My responsibility was getting them prepared for the work world. And so I cover anything between how to operate under pressure, how to operate with other people, how to be goal oriented, how to be punctual, how to problem solve, how to interview, cover letters, and a gamut of other things. And so on my job, on a weekly basis, the entire staff would meet, the program staff, and it was about maybe 15 of us or more. And we would all meet and we would have conferences and we would discuss each of the students and what particular issues that they may have and how could we serve them and how could we assist them with their barriers and issues. And we do this every week. And when I first started working on this job, there was this young lady that seemed that every time we would get to the meeting, she would talk about my students, and then she would ask me how come I didn't see that, and did I know that? And I felt like that I was on the firing range. I felt like that she really didn't like me, and I felt like that she was attacking me. And this went on for a while. And then the reputation that she had in the company was that she was really, really tough and no one to mess with. And so then that made me really want to shy away from having a confrontation with her because I did not want to have a confrontation. So this went on for a while. And so what I did was I did my best to make sure that my T's was crossed and my I's was dotted. And I worked really, really hard to make sure that my reports were prepared and that they were ready for these meetings. But it seemed like that she was still able to find something wrong. And it got to the point that I didn't want to go to the client meetings anymore. I would have headaches and all of that was just really stressing me out. Well, a time came that I was like, okay, well, you're going to have to address this with this coworker of yours because they are a coworker. Just go and have a conversation. Well, I started observing her a little bit, and I observed that she loves coffee, and I love coffee as well. So I found out how she took her coffee, and then one day I went and bought her coffee, and then I came to her office, and I asked her if we could talk behind closed doors, and she was like very welcoming, and she was like, sure, come in. And I went and gave her a coffee, and she was just, so appreciative of the coffee. And then I told her how I felt. And then her response was, well, this is my job. I'm supposed to point out when there are issues with students. And if you're missing something, I'm pointing that out to you. And I told her that I appreciated it, but it was the way that she was pointing it out. And so I asked her, I said, can we meet before our meeting? And can you go over your list of the students that you have concerns about so that I can go and address them? And then I'll come back to you and tell you what it was that I did. And then if you don't think that that is good enough, then you can come up with another idea. You tell me what the idea is, and then I'll go and try the idea. But can we work on this together? I want to solve the problem. I appreciate you pointing it out to me, but I want to solve the problem. Can we do that? And she was like, yes, we can do that. And so we made an appointment every Wednesday to meet so that when our meeting happened on Friday, that everything was accounted for and there was no issues. And then we became like the best of friends. True story. So what did I do? I went to the person and had a conversation, okay, about how this could work better. And I was clear and I talked about what my feelings were. And then at the end, we teamed up together and performed well together and provided really great service to our client. Okay, so what is your temperament? So you are asked this question, and this is an example. Tell me about a time that your boss asked you to work overtime and you couldn't because of your previous plans. And another question that they may ask you regarding temperament and mood is they may ask you, so So when you get up in the morning, how happy you are. Are you happy on a scale of 1 to 5? 5 being that you're really, really happy, and 1 is you're not happy at all and you're very sorry that it's another day. Like, where are you? Well, I hope you're 4 or 5. 4.5, okay? Never a 1. You're supposed to be happy and cheerful and have a positive outlook when they ask you that question. Everything is wonderful. Everything is sunshine and roses, even if you don't feel that way, even if you don't believe that. But that is your answer. No one wants to be around somebody who is sad and depressed and aggressive. They're not going to hire you. And I hope that that is not you. So let's answer this question. I'm going to read it again because I forgot. Tell me about a time that your boss asked you to work overtime and you couldn't because of your previous plans. Well, here is my answer. So there was a time that my boss had asked me to stay late, and it was 4:45, and I get off at 5 o'clock. And she came over to my desk and asked me to help her with this report that was due the next day. And there was going to be a big, huge meeting, and she needed my help. And I saw how frustrated she was, and I looked at her, and I just really didn't have the heart to tell her that I had plans. I didn't have the heart to tell her that I did not want to stay or that I could not stay because I had plans. So, and actually, I was supposed to have been going out to dinner that night with my mom, who was in town for a week. And so what I did was I called my mom and I told her what I was going to be wearing to dinner, because we were going to this fancy schmancy, restaurant. And I believe that our reservations was for 7:30 or 8 o'clock. So I told my mom where my things were and asked her to come to my job with the things, and that I would change clothes on the job so that we could still go and still get to our reservations. Then I went to my boss and I told them how late I would be able to stay, to be able to help her, but that maybe I was going to have to leave by 7 o'clock. That would give me time to get to our reservation, which I believe was about 8 o'clock. That was in Manhattan. And so it ended up being a win-win. One, we were finished with that report way before time. It was just that she was just really frustrated and really couldn't see anything anymore. And I know how that feels. And I did a favor for her. She repaid me by giving me a day off. Okay, and because I stayed and because I sacrificed, and I still went out with my mom, so everything worked out well. So it could have been another way where I have plans, and why are you asking me at the last minute? It is 15 minutes before it's time for me to clock out. Like, I could have did that. No, that was not right. I did the best that I could with the situation and came up with the win-win. And then, and explained to her that I did have plans and I couldn't stay there all night, but I wanted to stay and help. True story. Okay, so respect authority. So you are going to be asked questions by the interviewer to see, do you respect the people who will be governing over you, who will be setting the standard about how your workflow is going to be? So here is an authority question. If your boss told you to do something that you did not agree with, how do you handle it? Well, you see, I paused there for a second, right? Here is the thing. As long as it's not illegal, as long as it's not going to get me into trouble, I'm going to do what my boss says to do, whether I like it or not, and whether I agree or not. I do not always agree with my boss. Okay, I don't, and it doesn't matter if I like my boss or not. It just doesn't. Here's what I want you to know, and here's what I want you to hear when it comes to respecting authority. You don't have to like the person that is in authority, but respect the position that they hold. And what is the position that they hold? Your boss, your manager, your supervisor. And your responsibility is to do the best that you can under that administration and under that management. So for me, the answer is, as long as it's not going to get me locked up, as long as it's not going to put me in a position to lose my job or to hurt me, whatever my boss says to do, I am going to do it. That's it. And my last piece on that is your boss doesn't share everything with you. Your boss gives you piecemeal of information. So then that means, how can I respond a certain way when I don't have all of the information? So the information that I may have, I may question it, but I don't have all of the scenarios. I don't have all of the documents. I wasn't there when all of this was conjured up. Does that make sense? Socialization question. This is the people question. So I'm going to say right here on the onset, you must like people. You must like people. And so the employer is going to ask you questions to test this theory. And they're really good with asking questions like this, especially in a written form. When you're filling out those online applications, you're going to see a lot of questions about if you like people and a lot of questions about integrity. So here is the interview question. Do you work well with others? And your answer? Exactly. I work very well with others. And then you will go ahead and give them an example about maybe when you worked on a project and how everybody came together and worked together. But you love people, you love helping, you will give a helping hand if the workload gets too much for one of your co-workers, you will jump at the opportunity to assist them because you don't like to see anybody fail. Do you prefer working independently or in a group? Well, here's a tricky answer. Well, not tricky answer. Here's a tricky question, but here is the answer. Your answer should be, you rather work in a group, because the more people that are collaborating, the quicker that we can get the job done, the more information that we have, because we have a variety of different people with different levels of knowledge, different information, and so therefore it will increase the likelihood that the work that we're going to produce is going to be more of excellence and a variety. You will not give them the answer, oh, I'd rather work independently. Let me say why. Because at the moment that you say that you would rather work independently, so that means that you don't trust people, and that means that you don't like people. And most of the time when people say that they would rather work independently, because something probably happened somewhere in their backdrop, in their past, where maybe they trusted someone who let them down, and or didn't do their work, or said that they were going to do something and they did not do it, whatever the case is. And because of what that situation was and how that all rolled out from that moment on, you decided that you can do that all by yourself, quote, end quote. Okay. In your personal life, that is fine. That could be your motto. Put it on a shirt and ring that bell. However, at work, it is always, I'd rather work with people. Even though you know in the heart of hearts that you'd rather not, but the answer is you'd rather work with people because you love people. Socialization question. Here's the people question. Do you trust people who you do not know? I just want to give you a second. The answer is, okay, let me put it to you this way, right? They don't know you and you want them to trust you. So that means that if you say no, then that means that you're not trustworthy. I hope you caught that, because that's really the bottom line. See, I know that when you're thinking about that question, that you're thinking outward to other people. No, it's about you. Every question that you are asked at an interview, it is about you. How are you in a given situation? How are you in a group? So, tricky question. Be careful. You trust people. Here's the other piece. If you're looking to get hired, you have to trust the people who are going to train you. You have to trust the people who you're going to be working with. Trust people until they prove otherwise. So the integrity question, always my favorite question, by the way. So what I did in this instance here is that I'm giving you an example. Okay, I'm giving you an example of what a question would look like. Okay, so I'm giving you the scenario instead of question and answer. Okay, so a coworker is on warning for lateness and will get fired if they are late one more day. This coworker is your best friend. They helped you get this job. The coworker calls you at work one morning and asks if the manager was in, and you say no. Your best friend asks you to please clock them in, that they are only 5 minutes away and that they should be there before the manager. They said that the train made them late this time. And plus, you clock them in, no one would know. So the question is, would you cover for them this one time? So I wonder what your answer is, because this is a hard situation. I am not going to pretend that it's easy. It is a hard one because this is your best friend, and this best friend got you the job, right? And they're asking you to help to save their job. So it's like a favor for a favor. I got you this job. Help me to keep this job. So that's really, really a tough situation, right? But then what the friend has also done is they put you into a situation where you can get fired too. Both of y'all can get fired. They can get fired for lateness, and then get fired, and you can get fired for stealing time. Stealing time. Right? And there is this golden rule, that you're not supposed to clock anyone in or clock them out without management supervision, approval to do so. You cannot take it upon yourself to do it. So, wow, this is a hard question. And this is why employers ask you questions like this. And by the way, you can use this as your story if this even happened to you, or about this, you can use it as your story to prove the question that you have integrity. So the question is, would you cover for this person this one time? And in integrity, the answer would be no, that you may risk the friendship, but you cannot risk your reputation on that job and the livelihood. So the answer would be no. That would be the answer they're looking for. That is the answer that is expected. I know it's hard. Your ability to change and receive feedback. So here's a question. Tell me about a time when you did not meet the demand of your boss. Please explain the scenario and outline the steps. So whenever you ask a question like this, it's about you receiving feedback and you being able to change. So there was a time where my boss had gave me 4 different reports to do. And so, I'm really good with figuring out what I can do really easy and figuring out what may take me some time and what is difficult or something that I may not want to do, right? You know what I'm saying? So some people, they will tackle the hard thing first and get it out the way and then work on the easy because the easy may be fun and just easy. And then there's some people who work on the easy and get all of that out the way, and then they'll spend their time and their energy doing the hard. So me, I do the easy first, and then I go and I do the hard one. Well, I did not have that hard report done in time because it was harder than I thought, and I underestimated how long it was going to take me, and so I missed a deadline, and my boss missed a deadline and could not provide a full report to their boss at a board meeting. Of course, my boss was really upset with me about that. I was upset because I felt like that I let my boss down, and that wasn't my intention. It wasn't that I was playing games and I wasn't doing my job. It just wasn't that. It's just that my time management piece, that I underestimated it. So what is the lesson? the lesson that I learned from that moment on, and I do this right now, is I ask my boss, what's the most important thing that I need to do and what should I do first? So I don't take it upon myself to figure that out. I now ask my manager if they can shed some light and let me know what it is that is the most important to them. And then I get that done, whether it's easy or hard, and then I tackle the other pieces. True story. So what happened was I changed my method on how I do things. I accepted the feedback, even though it was hard from my manager, and I hated her being disappointed with me, but it made me ask more questions and paid more detail to the work that I am getting, because what I may think is important may not be important. So I go to the source and ask them. Follow rules and regulations. Follow the rules and regulations. Believe it or not, there are people who have difficulty doing that, and it could be the very smallest rule and the smallest regulations. And I'm going to give you one on the next slide. The cell phone. The cell phone has caused some people to lose their jobs. As a matter of fact, I know about 3 or 4 students who have lost their jobs because they had their cell phone on the selling floor. So what I want you to know is the cell phone, it's you having it on the floor, you having it when you're supposed to be doing work is not the issue. What the issue is that you are being paid to do a job. And if you are on the phone and if you are texting, then you are not doing your job. You are stealing time. You are disrespecting that job that is paying you. Your integrity is in question. And I'm also going to share with you that those students who lost their job because they had their cell phones out, that's exactly what they did in class. That's exactly what they did in training, rather. And so many times, I'll tell you, I even wrote up a couple of them about their cell phone, always having it out. That cell phone was like their left lung. They always had to have it in their hand. Couldn't carry on a conversation, couldn't go to the bathroom, couldn't do their work, couldn't do anything because they were always looking at their phone. Didn't make any sense. And then what happened? Get to work, their manager tells them the exact same thing, and they can't stop the habit. That's it. And by the way, 2 of them was written up so many times that it was ridiculous, but see, it didn't change their behavior. So what is it about? Following the rule. No cell phones. So you will be asked a question about hard work. So I wanted to give you an example of what that would look like, what a question may look like, or a story that you can spin to explain that you understand why they ask you that question about hard work, and this will help you to prove it. Okay? So here we go. So the company is preparing for this huge promotion for a month. You have worked the last 8 days and racked up 20 hours of overtime. You are tired and ready to go home. A coworker has offered you a ride home. You live over an hour away and take 2 trains and a bus to get home. This has never happened before, that you get a ride, rather. And that the person that is going to offer you a ride gets off in 10 minutes. I just paraphrased there for a second. You are stocking the shelves for a promotion that starts tomorrow. The work that is remaining will take you another 30 minutes. So you have a coworker that has never ever offered you a ride, who live in your direction, and this time they have offered you a ride. And you are so tired because of all of the hours that you have racked up. You have been working 8 days straight. Okay, and so the work that you have left is going to take you about 30 minutes to do. And we're not even talking about if a customer comes and asks you a question, then it is no longer 30, it may be 40. Don't let 2 customers come and ask you a question back to back. It's no longer 30, now it's an hour. And you are tired, you want to go home, and you have a ride home. So what do you do? Well, you know what the answer is. The answer is you're going to stay and complete the job. One, the reason why you've been getting all this overtime and working all of these hours is because the company is gearing up and preparing for this big, huge promotion. And so you know that. So that means that there cannot be any inventory that is left in the back or left in the box or hidden or anything like that, because you understand that this is important. Okay, so the answer, you will complete the job, tired and all. Okay, now, because you're my students and I care about you, here's another little tidbit that I want to give you. Well, this person that you're working with know what the issue is, because they've probably been working crazy overtime hours just like you. Well, how about, one, telling them that you're going to put some gas in their tank as a thank you for them taking you home? And how about this? Ask them to stay with you a few minutes, right? If it normally would take you 30 minutes, now it will take you 15 minutes to get this done. Ask them to help you to get it done. There you go. Easy breezy. Done. You get a ride home. So, abstract questions. So they're actually abstract questions that you feel like, why do they ask me this? And it doesn't make any kind of sense. And I think that this question right here is really, really silly. Somebody help me. Okay? So abstract questions. So they want to know, are you creative? Can you problem solve? And can you think quickly? And there's no right or wrong answers. They just want you to think. So I want to give you some information. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So here's the problem solving. So you arrive at work an hour early. You have to order supplies for the week and you forgot to do it on Friday. You enter your code to gain access to the building. You walk onto your floor. You turn on the lights to the office, and standing in the middle of the office is an adult ostrich. What do you do? Dilemma. Now, here's what I want to say as I'm stalling, because I want you thinking. An ostrich on your job, in a room. I want you to see it. So, what do you do? Well, here is something for you to think about. Why is that ostrich there? First of all, right? And let me tell you, it wouldn't matter if it was a lion, a tiger, or a bear. Just in this case here, they said an ostrich. So whether I know anything about an ostrich or not, here is what I am going to do. I am going to back up, and I am going to call my manager and tell them that there is this animal, this wild animal, by the way, that is in the building on our floor. And you do not work at Animal Kingdom. So that means that that ostrich should not be anywhere at all. And by the way, that is the answer. So you are not to call animal police. You are not to call the police. You are to call your manager and ask your manager what to do. Your responsibility is to back out real slow. Don't make any sudden moves, and get out of there and close the door and secure it where that ostrich will stay in that space. I don't know if you know this or not, but the ostrich is very, very strong. Not only can they get you with their beak of theirs, but they can jump at you, and their wingspan is like absolutely crazy, and they will go on attack. And by the way, they have the ability to kill lions. So, an abstract question. This is a creative one. Can you sell me this pen? And you're supposed to come up with all wonderful ways that you can use this pen and why that person should be buying that pen from you. And you got to sit there or stand there or whatever and make this stuff up, but you just got to be creative and awesome when you do it. So, example of abstract questions is, can you think quickly? So, if you were asked to create a brand new crayon that does not exist, what is the new color you have just created, and what is the name of the crayon? And regardless of the fact, if you think this is a dumb question, it doesn't matter. Don't be sitting there with your face all twisted. Look like you are excited to create this new crayon. So, what would your crayon look like, and what would be the name? So, a management question. So they may ask you, what type of a manager do you prefer to work with? Or what kind of a manager do you find difficult to work with? So they want to know about how you view management. So here's a way that you can answer it. Here's a way that I answer it. What I say is that for me, it doesn't matter what kind of manager I'm going to get. Doesn't matter what the management type is going to get. I usually can get along with just about anybody and everybody. And then I have this skill and I have this knack to figure out my boss, what it is they want, how do they want it, when do they want it, so that I can be of service to them and so that I can be of a support to them. I don't take it personally sometimes about how they talk, when they talk, or what have you. I really don't. I don't understand the weight that the person is under and the kind of decisions that they have to make. I don't know that at all. I am not privy to it. What I know is that they are looking for me to do a job. And so I'm going to do the job to the best of my ability. In addition to that, if I had to give you an example of what kind of manager that I would love to work for, I would love to work for one who's very encouraging. I would love to work for one who's very nurturing, and when I need assistance, makes me feel comfortable and confident when I ask them a question, and not that I'm bothering them or not that I am ill-equipped to do the job, but that they assist me. And I love a manager who acknowledges the hard work that I've done. See, because sometimes it's not about the money, sometimes it is about the acknowledgement. That's my answer. You can use it. So the weakness question. So the weakness question is the only question that you will be asked that is considered negative. It is the only question that you will be asked that is considered negative. One more time. It is the only question that you will be asked that is considered a negative question. So why do they ask it? Because they want to know, do you have self-awareness? Are you able to improve yourself? And do you take feedback? And do you put into place corrective measures? That is why. So if a manager corrects you on something, they want to know that you will fix it, that you will not get aggressive, that you will not get an attitude, that you will not slow down work, that you will not stop work, that you will not bring drama. They want to know that if they give you something to do over again or something to fix, that you will just do it and be happy about doing it because it can strengthen your skill set. Okay, that is why. So the weakness question, I just reframed it here. So tell me about an obstacle that you have overcome. It's the same question. They just rephrased it and reframed it. Again, it's about corrective measures, self-awareness, self-awareness, and self-improvement. Okay, so let me give you mine. I have a number of them. And here's the other thing. You are not perfect, and I'm not perfect. So please don't be telling me, oh, Ms. J, I don't have a weakness. Oh, yes, you do, and you probably have a list of them. All I got to do is go to your previous boss, previous coworkers, and ask some of your friends and some family members, and they will come up with a gigantor box of your weaknesses. So please don't. But here's your responsibility, that whatever the weakness is, it should not be one of the top 10 requirements for the job that you're looking for. So for example, if your typing is hunt, peck, hunt, peck, hunt, peck, and a job that you want is an administrative assistant where you should be typing an average of 40 words a minute perfectly, and you hunt, peck, that's not the job. Or what you could do is prepare, get your typing speed up, and then go for that job. Okay, so typing cannot be your weakness for an administrative assistant job. Okay, so my weakness is, and you probably already figured that out already if you've been around me for a minute, is technical stuff. That's not my thing. I'm not really good at it, and I have to work really hard at it. I have to study it. I have to practice it over and over and over again. And maybe that's the reason why I don't like it. But let me say this, I've never ever lost a job because of it. What I do is I figure out what it is that I need to know so that I can do this job. And that is what I do. And I know how to ask for assistance. I will find that person that is the strongest in what it is that I am weak in. I will butter them up. I will buy them coffee. I will buy them lunch. I will buy them dinner, Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, anniversary gifts, Groundhog Day gifts. I will do whatever that is to get them to be able to assist me so that I can do my job, do it effectively and proficiently. That's my weakness. See? So answering the weakness question. So you're stating what the weakness is, and I said that mine was technology, computers. Why is it a problem? Because in this age, and especially now, you have to know how to work a computer. That is how we communicate now. So it is an issue if you are not proficient in it. So what did I do to correct it? Learn it, study it, and ask for assistance. The background question, Fair Chance Act. So Fair Chance Act is came on the scene, I think it was like 2015. And what exactly is that, Ms. J? I will tell you. Next slide. So the Fair Chance Act, it makes it illegal for most employers, 5 employees or more, I believe is the threshold, in New York City to ask about the criminal record of job applicants before making a job offer. So in the interview, they cannot ask you that. Filling out an online application, they cannot ask you that. This means ad applications and interview questions cannot include inquiries into an applicant's criminal record. The specific duties and responsibilities of the job and the bearing, if any, on the person's conviction history on his or her fitness or ability to perform them. So if they're asking you a question, what they're looking at to see if it will affect the job. So I'll just give you an example. And you can stop this and read this. I'll give you an example. So if you went inside and you were on a time out because you were a bank robber. So that means when you return back to us, you're not supposed to be looking for a job around a bank. I think it makes sense, right? But my point is that question cannot be asked of you until an official offer. If you are denied it, of the job because of the background information, come to the whole program, get in contact with me, get in contact with Ms. Knox, get in contact with your employment specialist, and we will assist you in getting your package together so that you can respond to that. Okay, because it's a very short period of time. You will only have 5 calendar days to respond, so it's something that you got to get on really, really quick, respond. We're skilled in it, come ask us to assist you. I'll also say that there has been 6 students that Hope has helped of my students, not other classes, but of my students, and out of the 6 that we assisted, 4 got the job and 2 did not. 1, it was because of what their offense was. It was in conflict with the job. And then the other one did not get the paperwork in on time. Why did you leave your last job? I'm not going to discuss this here. We can address that. I will either address it in another video or I will address it in a live session. It's just too long to discuss here, but we will do that. Why should I hire you? I will cover this as well in a live session, but what I want you to know off the top, not to compare yourself with others and make sure that your passion comes through, and I will get into more detail. Make sure that somebody in your class asks me to go over this question if I do not go over this question in a timely manner. And what salary are you looking for? Well, you should know through research, through job posting. Sometimes the job posting says it, know what that is. Online, OnNet Online, you guys have already had exposure of that already. And the Glassdoor, that's another website that's really good. It'll tell you what the salary should be. And it also tells you about other employees who have worked for that job, what their salaries were and their complaints. Check out the Glassdoor. And finally, yay, Miss J, we got through this. And I don't know how long I've been talking yet. I'm going to find out in a minute. But finally, be confident in who you are and what it is that you know. Answer the questions. You are always right because all of the questions are asked of you and it is about you. So why wouldn't you be able to give an opinion about you? Now, if you are asked a question that you don't know how to answer, relax. And this is how you buy time. Ask them to say the question another way. Be careful. Hear me good. Don't ask them to repeat it, right? Because if you ask them to repeat it, they're going to say it the exact same way they said it before. And if you didn't catch it the first time, you're not going to catch it the second time. So don't ask them to repeat it. Ask them to say it another way. Let me tell you what's probably going to happen. Here's a trick. They'll probably explain the question to you. And in their explanation, that's how you come up with your answer. Trust me on this, it works. And look for questions online, Google challenging interview questions, do some research. You'll see questions and answers. And if I have not covered a question that you really want an answer to, you can email me or during our next live session, let's go ahead and some questions, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. So I know that this was a long video. I think I'm sweating as well. I think I got hot a couple of times. I'm sorry about that, but I wanted to make sure that you got the information because some of this I cannot cover in our live sessions, but I want to make sure that you get what it is that you need. So just use this video in parts, okay, and just get the information. All right. So this is Miss J, and I hope that all is well with you.